Hello everybody and welcome to this live stream as part of a preview show for our Live from London online festival. My name is Barney Smith and I'm the artistic director and countertenor in the vocal group Voces 8, and I'm going to be here with you for the next half hour to 45 minutes sharing some wonderful music and also talking to you a little bit about how preparations are going for Live from London. If you've never come across Live from London before, that's no problem. The first thing I'm going to do is give you a little introduction to this online music festival by playing you our trailer. We invite you to a global festival featuring some of the shining stars from the world of a cappella, live online from Voces 8's Wren Church in London.
Filmed in HD from the Voces 8 Centre, Live from London celebrates some of the world's finest vocal groups.
The festival will be broadcast live online every Saturday for 10 weeks from the 1st of August to the 3rd of October.
A portion of all tickets sold will be put towards funding for grassroots music education and to addressing topics of diversity, equality, inclusion and accessibility in choral music.
Ticket prices have been structured to benefit artists and promoters alike and to help them cover their COVID-19 losses.
We'd love you to join us for this unique series, Live from London. We hope you are as excited as we are. What a fantastic lineup of artists. And the majority of them are going to be coming here into this very space, the Voces 8 Centre in London, to bring you live broadcast streams. Now, every week running up to the festival, I'm running one of these preview shows. And as part of that, I am introducing you to one of our artists. This week, that artist is the Gesualdo Six. I was very fortunate to be able to witness some of their incredible music making in this very building just last week as they came in to rehearse, and we're going to share a little bit of that material with you shortly. But first of all, I caught up yesterday with their director, Owain Park. Owain Park, director of the Gesualdo Six, I suppose director, singer and composer in the Gesualdo Six. Thanks very much for coming on the show. So tell us a little bit first of all about you and your wonderful ensemble.
Great, well, nice to be here. We're really looking forward to our concert. London's kind of become our home, I suppose, but actually the group was founded in Cambridge, just up the road. We gave our first performance in Trinity College Chapel, which is an astonishing building with a wonderful acoustic. And the reason why we're called the Gesualdo Six is because we started with some music by the Italian composer Carlo Gesualdo, known for his extreme chromaticism, all this dissonance in the harmony. It's amazing music to sing, and a lot of us were choral scholars, so singing with a lot of other people in larger groups. So to come together and sing sort of one to a part was really what kind of inspired us to carry on doing more concerts, and we sort of developed the repertoire, Monteverdi, Bird, and then came out of the Renaissance and really went sort of quite wacky with some Ligeti, John McCabe, and just from there we've kind of developed these programs where we try and sort of present, you know, lovely bits from the Renaissance, maybe things that are sort of harmonically a bit more interesting, and then juxtapose them with modern pieces, not just put them side by side and say what do you think, but actually try and interleave them and see how they interact with each other.
Awesome. Now we'll come on to talking about your program for the festival in a minute, but just before that, a couple of little threads I'd love to pick out. First of all, you personally have a couple of links with Voces 8 because I believe, tell me if I'm wrong, the founding member bass in Gesualdo Six was actually Johnny Pacey, who's now sings in Voces 8, and also we have commissioned you to write a piece of music which we do as part of our Guardian Angel program. So that's a very nice connection as well. But I believe as your role in the Gesualdo Six is actually quite unique because sometimes you sing and sometimes you direct. So how does the group work? One of the really interesting things about this festival is all of the groups seem to work in a slightly different and unique way. So what's your way? What's your role, and how does that work out?
Absolutely. I mean, first of all, to say, it's writing that piece of Voces 8 has been a real highlight, and obviously Rachel Podger, who played the violin part with it, played it so fantastically, and so it was really nice that you could perform that piece.
We need to record it,
often.
don't we?
You do need to record it, and now we've got you on tape saying that's
absolutely well, I definitely want to. I just need the opportunity. Maybe lockdown provides the opportunity.
Yeah, no, I don't. What about using some of the kit that you've got?
Absolutely, yeah. I've just got to get Rachel. That's the only problem.
She's too busy. Johnny was a founding member of our group, but I think sort of the role that I have is kind of adapted and developed over a few years of performing together. Some of that was due to, let's say, at one concert if somebody was ill, then I'd just step in and sing. And then from there, we kind of thought, well, maybe we should actually develop this a little bit further, so it's not just ad hoc. But I when I sing, tend to come in and sing the very lowest parts, so that then increases the range of some of the repertoire that we can do. And so it means we can also chop and change a little bit within the orchestration of the individual pieces. So some pieces require a little bit of a sort of more, sort of earthy, sonorous timbre maybe. And then some pieces require sort of the higher voices to shine. So we try and sort of go with where the music takes us, sort of use a cliche like that. And then, so it's all quite sort of flexible. And you'll see that in the concert as well. I'll be doing a little bit of everything. Yeah.
You're very modest, actually, because having witnessed you sing bass in the group, I can tell our audience that you're very good. And in fact, the track that I'm going to play at the end of this interview bears witness to that as well. So people look for that. And talking about you being a good bass, tomorrow, I think we've got a news flash here. You're doing a gig.
Yeah, well, okay, so guess what? In a COVID-19 world, the gig isn't actually tomorrow. The gig is on Saturday, right?
Okay.
So we're doing the old-fashioned thing of going out the day before the concert.
Yeah.
Wow. Who knew? You don't have to travel on the morning. Rest those pipes.
And so you're going out with Tenebrae. So
they're doing a concert in Granada in Spain.
Amazing.
Of some music by sort of Spanish composers. And actually, I think it's going to be one of the first live things I've done since March. So really excited.
Now, we should tell our audience that because of this concert, you and I are not able to speak live on the stream. So this is actually Thursday night. And when I say Thursday night, I really mean Thursday night. I've just got in from working at the centre. Goodness knows where you've been. You're getting on a bus in 6.5 hours.
6 hours, yeah.
It's probably quite apt then that your programme in the festival is called, I think, Fading, and it's all about music for the evening. So do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think I'm in the perfect mood to describe that for you. So the programme sort of developed out of a love that we found together of the service of Compline. So late at night, very atmospheric, dark, sort of one candle walking into the building with the vicar, and then the whole place gets gradually illuminated. And the CD that we recorded with the same name, Fading, is all sort of about that. So it takes that sort of journey through Tallis and Hildegard with those plain chant melodies, and then sort of develops it with some more modern compositions, pieces by composers like Joanna Marsh, who's a fantastic composer and has written some lovely music which works really well in this context. One of the highlights in the programme is the Media Vita of Gombe, which I'm really glad that you were able to share. And we had such a blast because when we came into the Voces 8 Centre, we've recorded a few clips to share with everyone in the build-up to the concert. But actually, it felt like a sort of, with you behind the camera and everyone else there, it was a nice chance just to sing a piece all the way through. And we thought, well, why not? Let's make it the Gombe. 7.5 minutes of just this wonderful sort of really taut writing. And so it was a real pleasure to be able to do that. And that's kind of the centerpiece of the program, Media Vita in the middle of the night. And then from there, it's sort of, the kind of flowers bloom again, the sun comes out, and there's a little bit of life again. So we sort of tried to get that cyclical thing, dusk till dawn.
Very nice. Well, I would say to our listeners that they should definitely check out the Fading CD, but you've also got another, is it 2 or even maybe 3 on the Hyperion?
Yeah, that's right. So look, I've even got one with me.
Oh, there you go. Hey.
Yeah, very good. Yeah,
well,
Fading is the latest one, and we've also got a Christmas CD and a CD called English Motets, which is all about English music of the Renaissance, from Cornish right through to Gibbons and Byrd, and it's a lovely sort of snapshot of that era when there was so much composition. We sort of bring a little bit of that into our program for Voces 8 as well.
Yeah, well, I would suggest that our audience goes and listens to those. It's kind of good preparatory reading before your concert. Well, look, I won't keep you any longer, Owen. We're hugely looking forward to the Gesualdo Six coming. You're coming, I believe, on the 29th of August. Is that
29th of August, 7 p.m. British summertime.
There you go.
Can't wait.
And we will, as you say, go out now listening to a performance of Media Vita by Gombe that you did in the centre. What was it, last week, I think?
Almost a week ago now. And it's as live. And that's the great thrill about this series as well, isn't it? You make all of these musical decisions in the spur of the moment, and that's what people can capture back home.
There you go. I couldn't have put it better myself. So
right, yeah, you can use that one.
Thanks very much, and thanks very much for being with us. And best wishes as well for your Spanish extravagance that you're about to.
I'll send you some pictures from the Sun Lounger. Yeah,
I will. Yeah, I will be very jealous. It's pretty miserly here, isn't it, at the moment?
Yeah, it's not great.
Thank you very much. Sleep well, travel well, and here is some gorgeous from the Gesualdo Six. Oh, the music of Gormburn. I can see so many of you on the stream chats enjoying that performance by the Gesualdo Six. Thanks very much to Owain for taking the time out of his schedule late last night to come and chat to me about that. And of course, thank you to all the guys for coming in here to the Watches 8 Centre to make that wonderful music. It was fantastic practice for us. It was actually the first time that we've used, I think, 6 cameras, not the full 8 that we're going to use, but 6 cameras to capture a performance. So it's very good practice for us to be working with this kit, and I hope you enjoyed the results, both the visual and, of course, the wonderful audio by the Gesualdo Six. Now, this online festival, live from London, is unique for a number of reasons. Of course, for the list of artists. I don't think it would be possible in non-lockdown situation to get so many great vocal ensembles in to one festival. But it's also unique because we're trying not just to help the artists involved, but also to help the wider arts community. We really want to support the arts community to try and recover some of the losses that they may have suffered through the COVID-19 pandemic. And in order to do that, we're offering arts organisations all around the world the opportunity to partner with us and sell tickets. And whenever an organisation sells tickets, they're able to take a healthy cut for their own reserves. If you're interested in that, perhaps you're a choir or a venue, or you know somebody who works in an arts institution of any sort, maybe an educational institution as well, and you'd be interested to know a little bit more. I'm going to put some information up now, which was put together by my brother Paul last week.
With our Live from London concert series, we want to offer choirs, arts organisations, festivals and promoters the chance to raise some funds for themselves to help cover their COVID-19 losses. And in this little video, I'm going to explain just in a few short steps how to do that. Step 1 is very simple. You send us an email with your information to info@voces8.foundation. Stage 2 is also very simple. One of our team will give you a call to find out how many tickets you might be interested in. There's absolutely no obligation at all, but based on that conversation, we can agree a discount with you of somewhere between 10 and 40%. Step 3. After our conversation with you, we'll send you an agreed number of ticket codes that you'll sell to all of your audiences or choir members. We'll only charge you for the tickets that you actually sell. For step 4, we're going to send you a short video that you can pass on to everyone who gets a ticket from you that will explain how they redeem their vouchers and codes online. Step 5, you and your audience get to sit back and enjoy some beautiful music making from here in London.
There you go. It couldn't be easier. Please, please, please get in touch and get involved. I'd just like to underline the point that it doesn't matter if you don't sell any tickets. There's no risk on your part and only money to be made. So we really hope that we can reach out and support a global community in that way. So please get in touch. Now, I mentioned on this show last week that Watches 8 has currently put together the Classical Takeover playlist on Spotify. It's 50 of our favourite tracks, not just choral music. Of course, there is some choral music in there as well, but music of all genres. So please jump over to Spotify after the stream and check that out. It's about 5 hours long, so it might be something you want to go to bed to, listen to over your Sunday morning coffee, or even whilst you're working, having on in the background. I'll make sure that I put a link to that in the chat threads a little bit later on as well. Now, also last week, we caught up with our engineer, Dave Hynett. He's responsible for all of the placements of the microphones and things like that on Watches 8 CDs. So even if you've never met him, you'll certainly know of his work if you've listened to a Watches 8 album. And Dave's been down here working with me in order to get the centre ready for this great technological event that's going to be live streaming. We're going to talk a little bit more about some of the technology later on. We showed you around the centre a bit last week, and that seemed to be really popular, so we're going to bring you a little bit more of that in just a few minutes. But before that, I want to just touch again on something we talked about briefly last week, which was the use of screens. We're really committed to making this festival as safe as it possibly can be, and we're very pleased to have a partner in that respect now. And I caught up with Paul yesterday, who talked us through that. Paul, thank you very much for coming to join me here in the Gresham Centre. And I think you've got a little bit of information for us about the screens that we're going to be using.
A little bit, actually. The joy of Instagram was how I tumbled upon Matthew and his new company, SingScreen. And so I saw that he was specifically focusing on making these screens for singers and was a bit of a cool music enthusiast. So I reached out to him and set up a conversation. And I'm delighted to say, Barn, that you've now got the prototype in the building with you for our new set, which I think are going to be arriving next week. And I haven't seen them in real life yet, so how do they look?
Well, they're very swanky, if I may say so. On the camera, I don't know how well it captures it because the plastic is so pristine. They're also quite cool because they're very maneuverable, so they go up and down in height. You can tilt them backwards and forwards, and yeah, very pristine. And we have to be careful, of course, to clean them in between uses as well, so that's just another job for the deep cleaning team, but they're cool. And you can actually see, if I stand here, if I was going to be singing, then you can see that it sort of takes away all of that possibility of spray going sideways into my colleagues either side. So I think actually it does genuinely improve the safety in terms of the droplets that come directly out of our mouths, which is their predominant use. So yeah, really cool.
What I love about them, as I say, is that they're designed for singers by a singing enthusiast. So I spoke to Matthew, and he's actually a cool musician. I think he's been studying and singing up in Durham for quite a while. And he was telling me that during lockdown, he's basically had a career shift in his mind and been thinking about what is needed in the world today. And he and I think in his family, they have some engineering expertise. So they have turned their minds to thinking about how they can help musicians. And what I love about these screens as well is obviously we think they're going to be great for us for the ensembles, but they're really adaptable and versatile, so they can be used for singing teachers or in all sorts of different settings as well. And I think the website's singscreen.co.uk, so if anyone wants to go and check it out, you can see Matthew there. And he's been great to work with. He's very, very hands-on, so he delivered this himself, I think, didn't he, Barney? You met him.
Yeah, he came in his wonderful Mini Cooper Countryman, very British car. And actually, when Matthew was here, one of the things we did was he stood one side of the screen, I stood the other, and we did a little bit of singing together. And actually, it doesn't really impact, well, it impacts very little the amount we could hear each other and sing together. So yeah, he's a very nice guy. The prime British crafting, so very, very nicely made. And they
Live from London.
Say again.
Live from London.
Live from London.
London-based, isn't he? I think so.
Thanks so much for joining us, Paul, and we'll see you soon.
I can't wait to see the full set of screens there next week.
Yes, they're coming next week. How many are we getting?
I think we've ordered 10 to start with.
Okay, so I think that should be enough for Live from London.
Yeah, should get us started.
Brilliant. Thanks so much. See you soon.
Bye.
Okay, nice to catch up with Paul. Now you'll see we've got one of these screens in shot, and the reason for that is because one of our production team has joined us. I'm very pleased to introduce you to Tim Vaughan. Thanks so much for coming, Tim. You're down here helping me set up at the centre, but you also have an important role, don't you, in the production of this festival. How would you describe your role?
I have the great pleasure of being your co-producer.
Okay, well, that sounds like a pretty big word. So unpick that a little bit for us. What does that actually mean? What are your roles?
My function is to help deliver the live stream series as a production, fully fledged.
Okay, so of course we're going to be here singing live concerts, but you're talking about making that a production. So what are the steps that are involved in that?
So a little bit what you were talking about with Owen earlier about how every group is unique. We want to bring that out. I mean, we're going to do that with some pre-recorded footage to sort of garnish the live stream.
Okay, so our viewers, as well as seeing the live concert, can expect a sort of storyboarded television program as well.
Essentially,
I suppose. Okay, and Tim is a very, very creative human being and has lots of wonderful ideas, so we're really, really pleased to have you on board in that way. You're also, I said, down here helping me and Dave when he's here, he's back in with us on Monday, rig up the centre. And as part of that, you're learning how to use the camera. So I wonder now if we may change your role and throw you behind the camera, if that's all right.
No problem.
What we're going to do is give you guys a little bit of a tour around some of the kit that we have here in the centre. I should say before Tim starts moving this camera that these cameras aren't necessarily supposed to be follow cameras, so we're just going to do our best to, Tim's going to do his best to follow me around and change the focus, so excuse it if it's a little bit of a blunt tool at times. But we're going to come over here first where I've got 2 of the cameras. Now we've got 8 cameras in our production, and 4 of those are going to be wide angle. So you can see here this is a Panasonic S1. We have 6 of these on the rig in total, and this lens is a zoom lens. You'll be able to see if I do use the zoom feature, that's fine. It goes from, for those people who really care, its focal length is 24mm to 105mm. We're going to be using them probably around 24mm, and we'll have 4 of them around the space capturing wide angle. So that means you might see the whole group in a shot on this camera who's performing, or you might see 2 or 3 of the singers shot from a different angle. So that's one side of it. Then the other side of it is we also have 4 cameras which have telephoto lenses on it, so long lenses we call them, and you can actually see that this lens is literally long. And what that means is that we can jump in there and grab an individual singer, perhaps when they have a solo, or just for interests, for your sake, we can go between different singers. And if you think back to that Gesualdo Six video that we made, you'll think when we went in on individual singers, we were using these types of cameras. This particular camera is a Panasonic EVA 1, if you want to go and Google that, with a Sigma optics lens, and its focal length is 70mm to 200mm. So those are the 2 different types of cameras that we're going to be using. Now, all 8 of those cameras are going to have to be wired into one central brain. That central brain is down here on the floor. We're still building it. You'll see lots of nuts and bolts. And here on the top, this is what we call a production studio 4K made by Blackmagic, and all of the 8 cameras that are in the building all wire into here. You can see we've got a nice rack mount and patch bay on the top. And when they come in here, they then go down one wire, which Dave was talking about last week, a fibre optic cable, into the vestry where we have a production suite. Maybe we'll show you that next week. And in the production suite, we will then have the choice of which particular camera at any one time we are showing to you guys on the other end of the stream. So we'll have 8 choices all the time, and then they come into this box, go down there, and we choose which one of the 8 is actually going up onto the internet. So each of those 8 cameras is going to be manned by a different person, so they'll be moving around, and let's say, obviously Tim's on shot now, but if we had someone else in the building, they could be lining up another camera which isn't currently on shot, and then we could move to it, so on and so forth. So that's how that all works. And then down here we have the audio box. This is a Antelope Goliath HD, which I absolutely love. It's got 16 pristine analog inputs, so we can have 16 microphones coming into this. Again, it just goes down one fibre optic cable into the control room, and we can make a mix just like we would on a CD. So it's going to be all the microphones we use on our CDs. We make a lovely mix and send that into the stream as well. So this is kind of the brain of the operation from that perspective. So next week, as I say, we'll see if we can get you inside the control room, give you a little bit of an insight into the actual computers that we're going to be using to send it up. But I hope that just puts in your mind a little bit of sort of behind the scenes how it's going to work. Whenever we sing an a cappella concert, we always say it's like being a swan. You know, we want, as a group, to be seen by the audience to be gliding along the surface, but actually underneath we're paddling really, really hard, using our ears, thinking really, really hard, of course having to sing with great control. And it's very similar in this sense. We want you to see one pristine, lovely picture with great audio, but behind the scenes there's going to be a lot of people paddling very, very hard, and I'm sure now you can actually see the sort of background in the church. You'll begin to realise the amount of tech that goes into this sort of thing. Talking about a lot of tech, one of the groups that we have in our series is the Swingles, and they have been, over the past few years, really experimenting with using looping. And if you watched the show last week, you'll have seen one of their new members, Midge Parry, talking to us a little bit about that. Well, this week they've brought out a new video, which is a fantastic showcase of what they've been doing. I would love for you all to jump over to YouTube after this stream and look up the Swingles and have a watch of that video. But to whet your appetite, I thought I'd play a little bit for you now. So this is the Swingles singing part of Red Rain.
Red rain is coming down. standing up at the water's edge in my dream. I cannot make a single sound as you scream. It can be that cold, the ground is still warm to touch. Hey, we touch, this place is so quiet, sensing that storm. Red rain is coming down. Red rain. Red rain is pouring down all over me.
How cool is that? Fantastic use of technology there by the Swingles, and of course fantastic use of their voices as well. Wonderful solo by Ollie. So that full video is now over on YouTube, so head over, tap in the Swingles, and you'll be able to find it there. That kind of brings us towards the end of our show for today. I've got a little bit of music coming up from Voces 8 in just a minute. Here is a little poster about everything that's going on in this wonderful festival. You can see all the groups there, the dates of their concerts. We are offering a season pass, and tickets are available now if you visit voces8.foundation/live from London. Again, a reminder that there's a fantastic opportunity for you or an arts organisation that you know to make some money by becoming a retail partner. If you missed out on that, then skip back to about halfway through the stream and you'll find some video information about it. We would love as many people as possible to come and be part of our new venture and to benefit from it. So please, 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 of course you can benefit by watching the concerts, but you can also benefit by getting involved in the organisation as well. I will be back next week. As I said, I'm going to probably show you in the control room if it's fully built by then. Also, of course, playing you some more music from our fantastic festival artists. It's been a pleasure to be with you today. I have to go because I've got quite a lot of work to do. But to sing you out, we're going to bring you a Voces 8 track. It's actually a track that Stile and Tico are going to be singing in their concert. Many of you will know it's also one of my favourite pieces of music. So it's a very nice goodbye from me. Have an enjoyable weekend. And here's Voces 8 singing "Oh Clap Your Hands" by Orlando Gibbons.
Oh, clap your hands together.
Oh, clap your hands together. Oh, clap your hands together.